Have you ever been there? You're trying to wrap your head around some big, complex new idea, or even worse, you try to explain it to someone, and you just end up tying both of your brains in a knot. Well, today, we're going to fix that. We're going on a journey from the inside out, starting with how to master tough ideas in your own mind, and then how to share them with the world with total clarity. Let's get into it.
You know, this quote from Alexander Young just says it all. Think about that for a second. Going from failing an exam to topping the entire year, all while studying less? How is that even possible? Well, the secret isn't about brute force or working harder. It's about working smarter, by understanding the fundamental rules of how your brain is actually wired to learn.
And that brings us right to rule number 1. And honestly, the biggest hurdle we all face. It's a hardwired limit built right into our brains. It's the bottleneck that affects every single thing we try to learn or explain.
Now, this bottleneck has a name. It's called cognitive load theory. The easiest way to picture it is to think of your working memory as your brain's computer RAM. You know, it's super powerful for juggling a few things at once, but it is also seriously limited. So what happens when you try to cram too much new stuff into that tiny space? You get cognitive overload. It's that awful feeling of being completely lost and frustrated, where you just want to shut the book and walk away. We've all been there, right? And in today's world, with notifications pinging us constantly, our brains are getting pushed into overload all the time, and the information just bounces right off. Okay, so this cognitive load thing isn't just one big blob. It actually breaks down into 3 different types. First up, you've got intrinsic load. This is just how tough the topic is, plain and simple. You can't change that, but you can optimize it by breaking it down into smaller, bite-sized pieces. Then you've got extraneous load. This is the bad guy. It's all the junk that gets in the way, confusing slides, needless jargon, random distractions. Your goal here is to reduce this as much as possible. And finally, there's Germane load. Now, this is the good stuff. This is the actual brain power you use to build real understanding, to connect the new ideas to what you already know. This is the one you want to maximize. So, if we know our brains have these built-in limits, how do we work with them to really truly master a topic for ourselves? Well, for that, we're going to turn to a technique from one of the most brilliant and clear explainers of all time. This quote right here, often attributed to Einstein, is the perfect setup. It totally flips our idea of intelligence on its head. See, the real test of your knowledge isn't about using big, complicated words to sound smart. It's the complete opposite. True mastery is when you can make something feel simple. And the way to do that is with the Feynman technique. It's this beautiful, simple 4-step loop. First, you pick your topic and you just dive in, you explore it. But then, and here's the magic, you pretend you have to explain it to a little kid. This step is brutally honest and it will immediately show you where you're fuzzy. Then you just go back to your notes to fill in those specific gaps. I really want to drive this home. That step, explaining it to a child, is the most powerful part of the whole process. It's such a great mental trick because it forces you. It absolutely forces you to strip away all the jargon and the complex language. And when you stumble, when you can't find a simple way to say it, that's not a failure. That's a gift. It's like a giant flashing neon sign pointing you exactly to what you need to learn next. Okay, fantastic. So you've used the Feynman technique, you've filled in your gaps, and now you really deeply get your topic. But here comes the next challenge. How do you communicate that understanding to other people? Especially, a busy, impatient audience that just wants the bottom line.
And here's where we usually go wrong. Our brains naturally think inductively. We're like detectives. We gather a clue here, a piece of data there, and we slowly build our way up to this grand conclusion. But when you present information that way, you risk boring your audience to tears before you even get to the good part. The solution is to flip it completely upside down and present deductively.
This answer-first approach actually has a name. It's called the pyramid principle. It was perfected at the consulting firm McKinsey, where, let's be honest, they have to communicate huge, complicated ideas to super busy executives who do not have time to waste.
And the structure is just so clean and simple. Right at the very top of the pyramid is your single most important takeaway, the answer. The level just below that gives the main arguments that prove that answer is true. And then at the very bottom, you've got all your hard data, your facts, your evidence that back up each one of those arguments. It's logical, it's efficient, and most of all, it respects your audience's time. All right, so we know how to learn a topic for ourselves, and we know how to structure it for a big presentation. But what about those moments when you have zero time to prepare? When you're put on the spot and you have to deliver a clear, smart answer, like right now. Oh, we've all felt that panic, right? Someone asks you a tough question in a meeting, your mind goes completely blank, and you just start rambling, hoping you'll stumble across a point eventually. To avoid that nightmare scenario, you need a simple mental framework that you can pull out at a moment's notice.
And that framework is called the PREP technique. It's an acronym, and it's so easy to remember, even when you're under pressure. It's just point, reason, example, and then point again. It instantly gives any off-the-cuff answer a logical and persuasive structure.
Let's walk through a quick example. Imagine someone asks, "Hey, what's the best time to pitch a reporter?" You start with your P, your point, a direct, clear answer. The time of day definitely affects how receptive a reporter is to your call.
Next up, your R, the reason. You give the why behind your point. That's because they're slammed in the late afternoons trying to meet their publishing deadlines.
Now you make it real with an E, an example. For example, my contact Ben Smith at the daily newspaper, you literally can't get a hold of him after 3 p.m. because he's on deadline. And finally, you bring it home by restating your P, your point. And that's exactly why I make it a rule to never contact daily newspaper reporters in the afternoon. And boom! In just a few seconds, you've given a complete, structured, and really convincing answer.
So there you have it. We've gone all the way from the nuts and bolts of our brain to how to sound smart on your feet. Let's pull all these different threads together into one cohesive toolkit.
Your whole journey from complexity to clarity really just follows these 4 steps. First, you respect your brain's natural limits by understanding cognitive load theory. Second, you build that deep personal mastery of a topic using the Feynman technique. Third, you structure all that knowledge for other people with the pyramid principle. And fourth, you deliver that message clearly even under pressure with the PREP framework. See how each tool builds on the last one? It takes you from silent understanding to spoken brilliance.
And look, these aren't just some abstract theories from a textbook. They are practical, powerful tools you can start using literally today. So the only real question left is, what's that one complex idea you're going to tackle and make beautiful?